To get the question started, maybe I should take off from some of the presentations that you gave. You know, compared to other cities in the world, okay, what makes your cities, shall I say, more smarter than the others? I mean, you know, you did mention, you know, things like you got renewable plants, you got clean tech clusters, you got, you know, new innovation going on. But is this something that that is unique, or maybe I should ask slightly differently too? Say, asking if you have sort of a collaborative effort going on within other cities in the country and maybe throughout the world. So maybe I could ask both of you, and I think those mics should be operating if you can answer. Yeah.
You begin?
Do you want to take it?
Well, you know, in Paris, we have a reputation to be very arrogant, and so we don't compare with other cities of France. Lyon, Marseille, Nantes are not very interesting. I'm joking, but you know, we feel that we are a global, a world city. So the competitors are London, Berlin, even Amsterdam, and after that it's New York, San Francisco, and why not Beijing or Shanghai? So we are always benchmarking what we are doing to other cities. We learn from French cities. For example, on open data, we have relation with city of Rennes because they are a leader on these things. But generally, what we do is to benchmark with European or world cities. I've made a recent comparison between Paris and London, and it was not very fair for the mayor of London, because what we show is that London is not the capital of innovation in Europe, because it's Paris, and it's very easy, and it's very easy to show it. It's very easy to show it. For example, London announced 12,000 IT startup companies, and in Paris we have 18,000. London announced 100,000 workers in the field of IT, and in Paris region, of course, we have 400,000. And we have twice more. How do you say brevet? Patents has London. So it's very easy to make a demonstration only with figures that our policy is more efficient than the policy of London in the field of innovation. And it's not very surprising, because when you put 4 billion euros, 4 billion pounds in Olympic Games, you cannot put 1 billion euros as Paris in innovation policy. You know? So you have to choose. Yeah, so you make stadium or you make incubators. And in Paris, we, thanks to the CIO, we decided to put money in incubators. We have 100,000 square meters of incubators, and only in the incubators of the city of Paris, we have 850 startups growing, and it means a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunity. And one of the main subjects for me is to check how is the relationship between universities and the private sector, because it was one of the weak points of France and of Paris, and we have made a lot of progress on this specific point. The main problem, which is not resolved, and this is why one of the reasons I'm here in San Francisco, is the capital risk, the venture capital, because we have not, our venture capitalists in Paris are very weak, not enough money, not enough audacity, and we have to change that, and maybe we can have some agreement with people here in the Silicon Valley and in San Francisco to organize the presentation and the deal flow of the French startups, the Parisian startups, which could be very interesting for the venture capitalists of California. So this is it.
Sure, and I would say in San Francisco, one of the advantages that we have is a commitment to innovation from our mayor, and just having that as a top priority does make us different than other cities in North America. But I will say one of the challenges in North American cities is really understanding what a smart city is. There's still a lot of questions among my peers on what exactly does it mean, how does it relate to smart cities, how does a municipality interact with the private sector as it relates to finding some of the solutions. So I think that that's one area that we are a little bit farther ahead, where we do work with a number of local companies and have put together these similar formats to engage with the private sector around how to be a smart city. There's a number of other cities that I could tell you in the US are interested in it, but haven't yet either, don't have the political leadership saying this is a priority for our city, and also don't know exactly what it means yet. So I think that's one way that we're different, but certainly we have a healthy competition with Vancouver and New York and Seattle and Portland and many of the other cities that are all doing great things around sustainability and will around smart cities too.
And I think that cooperation between cities is more important than competition, because we can learn from one another. I've been in Amsterdam, for example, to see the Fab Lab policies, which is very interesting, because it's a way to give people an access to information technology and to invent some new systems. So I think that cooperation is the best strategy. We can. I've said some nasty things about London, but in fact, my opinion is that Paris and London are making a single conurbation. And it's absurd to oppose Paris and London, because there is 2 hours train distance between Paris and London, and it's like Paris and London is like the Silicon Valley. You know? So it means that we have to work together, and we have to see how we can develop things together better than fighting together.
Could I just add to that? Yes, and I would like to agree with you, because I was somewhat joking when I said healthy competition, because that's exactly how we see it. I think cities are realizing that a lot of the solutions don't have to be one city by one city one-offs. There's a lot of similar solutions that work for many different cities. So there's a lot more collaboration now, knowing that there are huge climate change goals that we all have. And so cooperation is certainly a key among cities.
I'm authorized to say something more. Well, if I talk too much here, but I come from very long way. I think that what is very interesting when you have a conversation with the mayor of, let's say, Rio de Janeiro or the mayor of Shanghai is the similarity of the problems. Right. It's not a question of north-south. Mainly, it's a question of big cities. Big cities with a high density. I think that the problems of, let's say, Los Angeles are different, because it's a flat city. But San Francisco, Paris, Rio de Janeiro, Shanghai have the same kind of problems. And this is very interesting.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the audience? Oh, a lot. Okay, so we can start, and after that we will go there. Yeah.
So my question, we are talking on smart cities, is giving maybe ICT technologies to cities in order that we could share information, etc., etc. How about the smart citizen? In other terms, what's the business model to engage citizen in those applications? And do you think about this question?
Mm-hmm. It's very easy to answer this question. A smart citizen is a well-informed citizen. So this is why open data is so important. You can't ask a citizen to be a partner, to be a co-decider, if he has not the same level of information as the decider have. So first, you have to give information, And after, you have to organize the deliberation. And as you have on internet, the game massively multi-players, you can have a deliberation massively multi-citizens, you know. And it's possible, I'm sure it's possible to involve, let's say, 200,000 people in one deliberation, and you can make a wise decision. It's what we call smart mobs, or the knowledge of crowds. So what will change the most in the future will be the governance of the cities, because it will be impossible to have politicians making a decision and asking people, well, what do you think about my decision? And we are going to do it together. No, this model is finished. What we will have is a co-decision process. So it means that you have to inform the citizens before the process of decision in order to make them a part of the process of decision. This is a big change, a huge change for politics, you know.
And I think it's a really important question. I think the easy part in San Francisco is doing things like creating the apps and using the data, because that we know how to do. The hard part is driving the usage of those apps to make it useful for citizens. So that is one challenge that we have. And at my department, we do invest a lot of time and energy and resources in outreach and education to diverse communities. And I think we're still trying to figure out of those 60 apps, for instance, that have been created, which are the ones that will be most useful both to the city government as well as to citizens. The second challenge that we do have is, with a very diverse population, there's certainly a segment of people that are not online at all and don't have smartphones. So how do we ensure that those constituencies don't get left behind as we become smarter and rely more on technological solutions that they might not have access to? So that's something that we're grappling with and is a challenge, but certainly something that's important to ensure that all citizenry can participate still.
Thank you. There is a question on the first one.
Thank you. I'm Ron Segi, chairman of Echelon Corporation. So we also make a technology platform for automating smart cities, and I want to congratulate the deputy mayor on your vision for a platform. And I was really struck by your challenge to break down the silos, because the biggest problem we have is not a technical one. It's that the street lighting guy doesn't talk to the signal light guy, doesn't talk to the car charging guy, and therefore we build silos, not horizontal platforms. So how did you break those silos down?
I pray every morning.
Okay, I'll start praying.
No, I think that the good solution. I can give you an example how we launched the open data policy. The first time in 2008, I've said that I want to make the data public, and the directors of the departments thought that I was a crazy and a dangerous man now. So, so it's only you have to give them gratifications. If they see, they are not stupid people, and they love their city, and so if they see the benefits they can have from the new policy, from the let's say transversality, opening data, open innovation, and so on, they will be involved in it. So it's a question of fertilization or evangelization, as the Americans say. We don't say that in France, of course, but sensibilization, and the main subject is not to create signal of blockades. I've given an example in my speech. When you give by procurement to a subtractor the management of a part of the networks of the city, you are creating the conditions of being not smart city. because when you are doing that, you say, okay, it's a black box. I don't want to know what it's inside. And of course, you lose the relationship with the information, with the information which is produced. And of course, you lose the ability to connect information together, to create interoperability. And what we know is that tomorrow you will need information about pollution to manage the traffic and to manage the public light. And even to manage, let's say, the ending of the service in the city, because if you end the service a little bit later, you can manage the congestion of the traffic. So all these informations are important to become a smart city. So this is why you have to fight silos, and you have to fight procurement, and of course you have to fight those companies which are offering you to manage everything for you.
And I would just add to that, I think it is important to have multi-agency initiatives that are proactive, because when there isn't the intention on the side of the city and each individual agency or worker is responding to a company that comes along and says, we want to work with your city, here's our vision, without the city having a vision already and already having established some of those multi-agency relationships, it makes it harder to interact. And so with this Living Innovation Zones example, that is one good recent example in San Francisco where we did have multi-agencies at the table, and now we have a platform for the private sector to engage with the city, and a lot of different agencies are already represented, and it's work that we've done on our side, which is, I think, will be important going forward.
Okay, we'll just ask one last question, question from that side of the aisle, please.
Hi, good morning. My name is Michael Vladimir. I'm a student here at Cal. Thanks so much for both of you for coming. So the thing that strikes me about smart cities and a lot of what you're talking about is all these potential benefits. There's a lot of people that can benefit from these changes that we're discussing. So my question is who pays? So it's very dispersed, right? So how do you figure out, you guys have cities with only limited budgets. How can you leverage the federal governments, NGOs, all private companies? What's the best way to get the right amount of money in to get the most benefit out?
Mm-hmm. That is one of the key barriers. I think that's still a big question, is who's going to make the investment? What city agencies or what city government has those kinds of resources to invest in some of the technological solutions that we're talking about? And I think ultimately it's going to have to be some sort of calculation or mechanism around being able to demonstrate the long-term savings for the city as it relates to whether it's energy bills or increased revenues to the transportation agency. I mean, it has to pencil out also for the city. So, cities have various mechanisms of raising money, everything from bonds to accessing grants to getting support from federal and state government. So whether those initiatives already exist and whether there's funding available is one question. But if there's a demonstrable benefit to the city long term, I think there's a much easier case to make for raising the capital that it will take to make those investments from a city. I will tell you that right now most city agencies don't have a smart city line item in their budget, unfortunately. But maybe that will change the more that people understand what the promise is of having a smarter city.
Okay, why don't we close at this? Thank you very much. It's I
think that we do exactly the same thing.